Hi, me again. Um, so I'm searching for a cure for fibromyalgia and low-grade lupus, chronic conditions. And I've tried over the last couple of years a number of things, and I'm just doing a few videos on what I have tried, and then I'm going to continue doing videos on things that I'm still trying. Um, so Lyrica is something that I tried. Um, the doctor put me on Lyrica about 6 months after I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I was a little frightened of it because I don't like to take a lot of medication that I'm not sure of or that I don't know anything about. Mind you, I'm hopped up to the eyeballs on painkillers pretty much most of the time. Um, codeine is my best friend, and I would really like to be able to get off the codeine completely, which is why I continuously search for cures, and there are some things that have worked reasonably well for me, and I've been able to get off painkillers temporarily for a week or two, but I always end up finding myself back on them again. So my idea is despite what the doctors are telling me, despite what everyone is telling me, that fibromyalgia is not curable, even my own naturopath says it's not curable, I have something in me that says, yes, it is. I just haven't found it yet. So, although my doctor does say we can manage it, but I don't want to manage it. Stuff that. I want it gone. I don't like living with this, and I don't like it being, constantly here and sometimes right here. Like we go out to a restaurant and I can't eat. I'm sorry, I can't have that. I'm sorry, I'm allergic to that. I'm sorry, I'm sensitive to that. It's a nightmare for me to go out and eat anywhere. I don't know if that's like that for anyone else with fibro or lupus or any other kind of chronic condition, but that's what it's like for me. Sometimes I just go, you know what, to hell with it. Yes, I'm going to eat that, and then, I spend 2 days in bed. So afterwards. Anyway, Lyrica. So I tried Lyrica. I started off on 25 milligrams a day, and the doctor said, it'll take a couple of days, maybe a week, for you to be able to feel the effects. I felt the effects immediately from the very first time I took one. I noticed the very next day when I got up, I took 25 milligrams at night. I woke up the next morning and I wasn't stiff. My body didn't feel like that. Like everybody, I wake up and I feel like I've been like cramped up in one position, which I haven't because I've been tossing and turning all night and getting up and peeing 5,000 times. But it feels like, I've been, when you sit cross-legged on the floor for 15, 20 minutes when you're a kid and then you went to get up and your legs go wobbly and that. No, it's not like that. But it's like everything is stiff. And it's a really awful feeling. And the last house that we lived in, we lived in a three-story house, and my bedroom was on the top floor, and my salon was on the top floor, and the clients would come to the bottom floor, and so I used to have to walk down the stairs and get the client, and then bring them back upstairs, and then see them out, and then back up again. So I was up and down those stairs, every day, you know, 20, 30 times, and it was a nightmare, and it hurt a lot, and everything was stiff, and I had to try and look like I wasn't an old lady walking up and down the stairs in front of the clients, and that was difficult, and I had to put a nice big smile on my face, and oh yes, I'm perfectly fine, and no, I'm not in any pain. But anyway, the first day on Lyrica, just 25 milligrams, I noticed the very next day I was in no stiff pain. Like I had other things going on, but the stiffness was gone. So a couple of days on Lyrica, I decide I'm going to go for a run because I felt amazing. My body felt fantastic. I know not everybody has this experience on Lyrica, but for me it was fantastic. I did have diarrhea every day for the first probably 2 weeks, but once that cleared up, it was brilliant. But I think day 4, day 5, I actually ran. Oh, we lived on a hill, so I ran downhill. So I don't know if that counts, but I did run, and I did suffer and did pay for that. But it was fun. I hadn't ran in years. I used to run when I was a teenager. I used to do cross country, and I loved it. And running was a kind of freedom for me. And I still think about the feeling. And when I dream, I often dream that I'm running, usually away from something, but still. I like that feeling. I wake up every morning, or not every morning, but I wake up some mornings after dreaming about running, and I think, wow, that would have been great because I didn't have any pain in my dream when I ran. And if I was to run now, not only would I look like a herd of elephants trying to run down the street, I would probably feel like I'd been run over by that same herd of elephants for 2, 3, 4, 5 days afterwards. I cannot do anything too strenuous. That's why I do yoga now, because it's gentle, and it means that I'm stretching my body, and I still don't feel great from it, but I think that the benefits of it outweigh the, you know, uncomfortableness and the pain that I actually go through when I do yoga. Anyway, that's another thing. So yeah, the Lyrica was great, and I stayed on it probably for about 6 months. By the time I got to about month 4, I was on 150 milligrams at night, and by the time I got to sort of the 5 to 6 month mark, I was on 150 milligrams at night, 75 milligrams in the morning. So I was getting to the limit of what the doctors say you can have safely, which is 300 milligrams a day, 150 in the morning, 150 at night. The problem with Lyrica was that the higher the dosage, the more kind of swimmy in the head I got. My blood pressure, I've always had issues with my blood pressure. It's always been very low. So, that made things worse. And, so after 5 or 6 months, I decided, look, this is just going to be a case of going up and up and up and up, and I'm going to get more and more swimmy. It was less and less effective. So I went off it. I slowly tapered myself back down. Now, I still have 25 milligram capsules in the cupboard, and occasionally I will have one if my stiffness is really bad, but it doesn't do what it did that very first time that I had it. The other thing is I put on 5-6 kilos in that time on Lyrica. I didn't realise that it was the Lyrica until much later, when a friend of mine was talking about his experience with Lyrica, and he was on it, and he was saying, it wasn't really doing that much for him, but the thing that he had noticed is he put on quite a bit of weight. And I said to my husband, did I put weight on when I was on the Lyrica? And he said, that's when you put your weight on, was when you were on the Lyrica. And I put on another 5 or 6 kilos from the already 15 that I'm overweight. So and now I'm battling 20 kilos overweight instead of 15 kilos overweight. So that stops me from going back onto the pharmaceutical path. I'm not a doctor, of course. I'm just a person who's suffering, and everyone has to have their own experiences and try these things for themselves maybe. But for me, Lyrica, it was good and it was bad. So, you kind of have to weigh up what works best for you.